everyone, Niev here, and today I am doing the deck interview for the Pacific Northwest Tarot. We just spent 2 weeks, well, I mean, I'm uploading it 2 videos a week, but I did the videos in the span of 2 weeks, so once every day I did a video, and yeah, but I'm spacing this out for the my YouTube channel. But anyway, and I ended that with the last day, which was the full moon ritual, and I had to kind of very simplify that because, like I've been saying, we're having a lot of renovation going on in our home, and my ritual room is just not accessible to me really right now. So I mean, I can go in there and grab a few things and things like that, but it's not an insulated room. So, and the power is completely shut off in there, so I can't even run a space heater or something. But anyway, so I have to do this in my art studio here, and because of that, I can't do like a full fancy ritual, and I couldn't have incense because my husband's very sensitive to that, so I usually keep my incense to my ritual room. Anyway, and I'll probably run this through some incense when I get back into my ritual room and things like that, but I had to do just a very simple little ritual. But anyway, so after the full moon ritual and the cleansing and consecrating of the deck is my deck interview. And I have, I kind of came up with this when I was doing the deep dive of the Crow Tarot, which I did not film, so that's not on my channel. And these questions didn't quite, I think some of them sort of, I came up with the questions, but I searched a lot of different deck interview spreads that were on the internet, and so some of these were inspired by other spreads that you could find throughout. I didn't write down where I got various things from. I'm not sure that this spread itself, and I did switch the 7, the 8 here, but I'm not sure if this is if I came up with this or I got it from somewhere else. I really don't know, but anyway, so this is what I did with the Crow Tarot, and in general I really liked it, though I did switch some questions and stuff and a couple positions. So anyway, I'm gonna get this started. Yes, so I hope I am going to have it all in frame. I will keep the book out. Let's keep the book out just so we can consult it a little bit if need be. All right, so I am gonna shuffle here. I'm gonna do one shuffle on camera, and then I'll just pause it and shuffle for a while. All right. I am terrible at overhand shuffling. This is why I really prefer riffle shuffling, and I wish cardstock, like the cardstock for me that's perfect for riffle shuffling is like a linen finish, and this is not linen, so unfortunately I just have tiny, like, child-size hands, and yeah, anyway. All right, I've done a few more shuffles of this. I paused the video and just kept shuffling. All right, so let's start this deck interview spread. Okay, so I'm going to bring this out so that I have this in frame here for a bit so I can reference it. So the first question, I have to say hello to the deck. So hello, Pacific Northwest Tarot. How would you like to introduce yourself to me? All right. I'm going to go through and just feel, how would you like to introduce yourself to me? Right here. And this is going to go right here. So we have the 6 of Wands. So it's very, like introducing itself in a, like, look at me kind of way, you know, because the 6 of Wands is that that card of how should I describe it? It's a card of victory and success, like big time success here. And so I feel like this is saying that, and it's also a someone being put on a pedestal and people following it. So I think what this deck is saying is that it thinks very highly of itself, you know, which I don't think is a bad thing. I think this deck feels, and of course we're anthropomorphizing the deck here. That's the whole point of the deck interview. I think it is a sort of seeing the deck as a living entity, or not necessarily sentient, but that it's got its own energy, and a lot of that is the energy that I've put into the deck, because it is just cardstock after all, and it's, you know, well, this isn't mass produced, but, you know, because it's an independent deck, but it, you know, in general, a mass produced cardstock grouping of cardstock. So in and of itself, it doesn't really have an energy to itself aside from, you know, the materials that it's made out of. But like when we get the deck and we start infusing our intentions into the deck, that's when it sort of, I wouldn't say that it becomes a living sentient being, but rather it has its own energy to it. And so in a deck interview spread, we are anthropomorphizing the deck here. And so with the Six of Wands, I would say that this deck is introducing itself to me as, you know, like it's thinking very highly of itself, and which also means that I am infusing that energy into this deck. So in a way, I'm also looking highly upon itself. Like this is my own energy being reflected back at me, and how I view the deck and how it is introducing itself to me. So anyway, all right. So I would say that it's introducing itself to me as a kind of putting itself on the pedestal, you know, coming in confidently. It's very confident. That's a good word for this. There's a confident energy that it is introducing itself to me with. All right. What would you like me to know about you, Pacific Northwest Tarot? What would you, the Pacific Northwest Tarot, like me to know about you? What would you like me to know about you? All right. So, what would you like me to know about you? What would you like me to know about you? Right here. All right. So, this goes next to it. Queen of Wands. Wow. So, some real fiery energy here. And you know what? I'm going to go back to the book here because I want to see what I want to see what the book says about the Queen of Wands here. And we just went through all this with the previous videos. But, you know, when I'm doing these deep dives, I am very frequently going back to the book. If it has a book for the deck, because some decks don't come with a book. So I might actually just use my tarot app, and I use Galaxy Tarot as my general tarot app. So if I'm doing a deep dive of a deck that does not have a book, I will just keep opening that one. Anyway, so the cat. So action tempered by insight. Okay, action tempered by insight. So, I mean, I almost don't need to read more of the keywords because that first phrase there, that first sentence, really kind of answered that question. What would you like me to know about you? I think this deck is going to want me to act, but act very insightfully. Like it's kind of that, it's not a fool energy where it's leaping before you're looking. It's more, it is totally a Queen of Wands energy here where it's like, yes, take action, put your money where your mouth is, but don't do that all willy-nilly, and stop and think about things first. Like, take that action. Don't just be in your head the whole time. Take that action, but temper it. So yeah, and so connection to one's true self, vivacity and intuition. That's a good one too. Confidence. Here's that confidence energy we're seeing again. Confidence, vanity, haughtiness, a witch. So I'm wondering, does this deck want me to use this for a lot of my witchcraft? I think that's a good indication here. I think this deck really wants to be used in my witchcraft practices. And also, again, that first phrase, action tempered with insight. Yes. All right. So I think that I'm very happy with that interpretation. So let's move on to the next one. So the next question is, what are your strengths? What is this deck good at? What are its strengths? And this card is going to go right down here in between these two cards. We're doing a pyramid type spread here. All right. So Pacific Northwest Tarot, what are your strengths? What are your strengths? What are your strengths, Pacific Northwest Tarot? I feel like we need to be at the beginning of this pile here, right here. What are your strengths? King of Cups, which, you know, I think this is going to factor into this, but let me adjust this just a touch here. All right. So this is the one card in the deck that I did very slightly bend, and there's ever, like, I'm not even sure you can see this, but I did accidentally slightly bend this card when I was shuffling. And if I have it in the pile of cards and stack it like this and slightly let go so that they kind of separate a little bit, I can easily find exactly where the King of Cups is, because that ever so slight bend in the card kind of makes itself known there. So I do actually think that is lending to the meaning of this card. This is the one card that I slightly bent, and it pulls up as the strength, the deck's strengths. So I think that's very telling. That's aside from the fact that this is the King of Cups. So I want to see what the book says for the King of Cups here. So 9 of Cups, 10, Page, Knight, Queen, King. All right, so leatherback sea turtle. So this is a caretaker, a wise advisor, diplomacy, devotion, generosity, control and balance over emotions. So I think this is going to be a deck that really is a wise advisor, a deck that I can go to if I really just need some advice, and in a way where I don't want to be overly emotional about something, and I want to think rationally, and balancing that my emotions with insight. So the insight from, and I am going to keep going back to the previous cards when I'm doing these interpretations. We've got a big amount of confidence with this deck. It wants to be a deck that really helps me through working through some of my emotions and stuff. And being someone who doesn't like to show my emotions a lot. I mean, maybe it's because, in the MBTI scale, I'm an ISTP, and, that being my first function is introverted thinking. So it's, there, and my least function is the feeling. I do have some trouble with accepting, like I get emotional, but I don't know, it's sometimes I have a hard time accepting my emotions, and I often very much get into my head about it and rationalize things. And in a way, I feel like this deck is going to be like that. If I do get over emotional, this deck's strengths will be to kind of temper those emotions. And we get that with both the Queen of Wands here and the King of Cups. There's a tempering of emotions, control and balance over emotions, and a general wise advisor. That keyword here from the book for this card, wise advisor, I think that is the strength of this deck. All right, so the logical next question, though, is what are your limitations? I don't like to say weaknesses, because it's not really a weakness, but what are this deck's, what is this deck, what are its challenges, or what are its limitations? And limitations was the word I used for this, this position. All right, Pacific Northwest Tarot, what are your limitations? What are your limitations? What are your limitations? I really just shuffle until I feel ready to look through the deck here. What are your limitations? What are your limitations? I feel like it's the top card here. All right. Wow. Okay. God, we are getting a lot of court cards with this. And this is my second favorite card in the deck. Huh. All right. So its limitations are the King of Pentacles, which is like, there's a lot of ways that I identify with the King of Pentacles. The Pentacles are, in general, my favorite suit of any tarot deck. But let me slightly adjust this here. But yeah, okay, so let's see what the book says. This should be right near the end. The King of Pentacles. Status, monetary success, authority over the home, luxury and abundance, discipline over resources. So I wonder if this deck maybe, because there is that big energy of money and success, and a lot of that, the mundane part of our lives with the everyday part of our lives, and the focus on money and home and things like that. And so maybe the limitations of this deck is, like, it definitely wants to be used in magic, and it wants to be a sort of advisor, but maybe its challenges are in the mundane, and it doesn't really want to be consulted for things like money or finances and the day-to-day sort of stuff. It kind of wants to be used for bigger things, magic for sure, and general advice, but not so much in the mundane world. And I might change my interpretation of this as I think through it. But I find this very interesting, and especially since this is my second favorite card in this whole deck, that it has an issue with being used for money questions or household, in general, home sort of questions. So that's something to keep in mind. So maybe I will use this deck for these purposes and not for this purpose. So, all right, so what can this deck teach me? What can you, Pacific Northwest Tarot, what can you teach me? 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 Pacific Northwest Tarot, what can you teach me? What can you teach me? All right. 3 of Cups. What a nice card. Wow. I wonder, because we've got another emotional energy here. We've got this, its strengths are the King of Cups, and what it can teach me is the 3 of Cups. And like I was saying, I often have issues with my emotions and dealing with, and just in general dealing with my emotions. And with the 3 of Cups, it's very much a communal card. I wonder if this deck is going to help me with relationships in general, and just I'm trying to word this in a way. Let me see what the book says, what this book says about the 3 of Cups, because this is generally the card of like friendships and community, and really enjoying our time together and things like that. So, here it is. Okay. Friendships, celebrations, gatherings, community, camaraderie, and collaboration. All right. And there is a general, like, teamwork energy with the 3 of Cups, just like the 3 of Pentacles, but it's more of with the 3 of Pentacles, it's more of a working together, like there's a goal that we're working together on, whereas the 3 of Cups is more of an emotional connection, sort of teamwork, coming together, and so community. It might, I don't know what, with, you know, and this makes sense, not fully understanding this because it's something this deck is going to teach me. So I think it makes sense that I don't fully know what this is saying yet. You know what I mean? Like it's something that this deck is going to teach me over time. Yeah, I think so. Yeah. So there's a general energy of community and maybe leaning on others, which is definitely something I have trouble with. Leaning on others for emotional support, not just, you know, for other things, but leaning on others for emotional support which is definitely something I struggle with for sure. All right, so let's do the next question. The next question is, what can I do to strengthen our bond? And this is going to go right here. So, what can I do to strengthen our bond? What can I do to strengthen our bond, Pacific Northwest Tarot? What can I do to strengthen our bond? What can I do to strengthen our bond? What can I do to strengthen our bond? Oops, I pulled 2 cards. Should I keep both of these? Whew. This is one of the cards that actually came out, that flipped over when I was trying to answer some of these questions. So I got the 4 of Cups, another cup energy. Wow, this deck really wants to tap into my emotions, and it definitely is not interested in mundane matters. It really just cares about like emotions, and especially again with the moon, that's a very emotional card too. Um, yeah, okay, because it wants to be used for magic for sure. It wants to be a consult for an advisor for general emotional type of questions. What it can teach me is very emotional and leaning on others to help with my emotions, things like that. So there's a lot of emotions with this, which is definitely something I tend to struggle with, like I said. And now this one, what can I do to strengthen our bond? With both the 4 of Cups and the moon, that's a lot of meditation energy, I think. Um, there's a it's like it wants to retreat into itself. It wants me to retreat into myself and sort of use these energies to really meditate with this deck. I think it wants to be a deck that is that I use during meditations or during magical, like again I'm getting that magical purpose. With the moon and the 4 of Cups, definitely getting and especially with the Queen of Wands here saying that this is how this is how what it wants me to know about it is it wants to be a card of action and insight, but to be used in magic. And we've got all these emotional cups here. So 4 of Cups. Let's see the 4 of Cups and the moon. The moon, like I said, is a card in tarot that I often have trouble with because a lot of times I don't quite understand what the moon is telling me. All right, the 4 of Cups, closed off, disconnected, withdrawn, apathy, indifference, contemplation. Contemplation, because a lot of these are, I wouldn't say negative, but it's more on the challenging side. Whereas I think closed off, disconnected, contemplation, that's really what it's the energy here. Let's see, let's go to the moon now. Let's see, this is the star, the moon. All right, so intuition, illusion, dreams, duality, deception, vagueness and misconceptions, instability, anxiety, and insecurity. So, like, the illusion, dreams, intuition, those sorts of energy, along with the 4 of Cups, I definitely think this deck is just telling me that the way that I can best connect with this deck is through meditation. So, yeah. All right. So now I have switched around 7 and 8. So 7 is going to go here and then 8 at the top. I hope I have room for the 8. I might have to move things down a little bit here. So 7. Oh, actually, So what card best represents your energy? I think it's going to be the last question. That's what I was trying to say here. So what else would you like me to know? And that's what I'm going to put right here. What else would you like me to know? So, and then with the other one will go at the top. So what else would you like me to know? What else would you like me to know? Pacific Northwest Tarot, what else would you like me to know? 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 All right, Page of Swords. So many court cards in this reading. So, Page of Swords. So this is the first swords card we're getting. We do have each suit represented. Mostly cups, two wands and a sword, and one pentacle. So, swords. Page of Swords, where are you? Knight. All right, page. So, curiosity, intelligence, inspiration, a quick wit, a fast study. I will say that's a good one for this. A fast study. I feel like I'm going to very quickly connect with this deck and understand what it's telling me. And I think that's what the Page of Swords here is saying, is that in the what else would this deck like me to know, I think it's saying that look, this is going to be fairly easy for me to read. It's not going to take a lot for me to I'm not going to have too many questions, if that makes sense. I'm going to understand what it's telling me. I'm going to be a quick study with it. So eagerness, new ideas and perspectives, communication. And there's that communication here, energy here with the Page of Swords and the Three of Cups. So maybe this will help me communicate my feelings better. And yeah, so in general, I think that what it's saying is that this is not going to be a deck where I'm going to struggle with the meanings. It's going to be a deck that, for the most part, I'm really going to understand what it's telling me, which is good. All right, so the final one is what card best represents your energy? What card best represents your energy? So, Pacific Northwest Tarot, what card best represents your energy? What card best represents your energy? Pacific Northwest Tarot, what card best represents your energy? What card best represents your energy? All right, I'm going to go with this card. All right, the Six of Pentacles, which is very interesting because we're getting a Pentacles card, which this deck is really going to struggle with a lot of mundane things. Where it's really going to shine is in emotional aspects. Coming to this deck for emotional issues, and also using this deck for witchcraft purposes and in meditations, things like that. A lot of magical and emotional sorts of energies I get from this deck. So how it would best... this card best represents the deck's energy, which is the Six of Pentacles, and it's really that sharing and receiving, sort of a give and take sort of energy with this. It's going to be super nurturing, and that's what I see here with the King of Cups. It's strengths, super nurturing, and yeah, for sure. So this is a nurturing deck for me. This is going to be a nurturing deck. And that's really what I'm going to put this a little bit over here, though, because I think I'm not quite in frame anymore. But maybe I can just bring this down. We've all seen these cards here. So we'll bring this down, and here we go. All right, so there we go. All right, so yeah, so I get that this is going to be a very nurturing deck for me, and it will be very nurturing readings. Yeah. What does the thing say? So generosity, charity, giving, sharing wealth, help and support. Perfect. So that is definitely how this deck is, how this card definitely represents this card's definitely represents this deck's energy, if I can speak. But so help and support, receiving what you need, gratitude. So yeah, I'm very happy with this. I think this, I've doing this spread has really made me understand how I want to use this deck and how this deck wants to be used. And like I said, I am these sorts of readings do anthropomorphize the deck quite a bit, but and a lot of the energy of these decks come from ourselves. And so this is the energies that I'm kind of inwardly asking myself how I want to use this deck. And that's how it's manifesting here. So in a lot of ways, it's a little bit scary for me because, like I said, I'm not super in touch with my emotions. I'm not, I don't know how to explain it. You know, I have trouble. I can express emotions, but I have trouble sometimes with over rationalizing my emotions. Sometimes instead of just feeling something, I often have to rational, like I kind of have to like psychoanalyze myself, if that makes sense. I don't know. It's or I just don't really want to deal with it. And this is definitely a deck that's going to make me deal with my emotions and come to grips with it and maybe be a bit more open with my emotions. Yeah, but also I am excited to use this deck in Magic. So it says, you know, this deck is definitely saying I want to be used in witchcraft purposes. So there we go. All right. So thank you so much for watching, everyone. So the next video, what is the next video? So we did the deck interview spread. Day 3 is reordering the deck and doing a quick walkthrough of it, and shuffling meditatively. So that definitely not something that I'm going to be on camera doing, but I will be spending some time tomorrow kind of meditatively shuffling the deck and doing going through it. And then day 4 is going to be a meditation spread. So a meditative journey, drawing a card each step of the way, and go for as long as desired and record the journey. So I don't know if I'm going to video record that because it's a meditation and it might be boring, you know. I don't know. So if you're interested in that, let me know. But then again, I will be posting these videos long after I've done these, so I don't know. Maybe I'll do, even later on, maybe I'll do another meditation spread with this deck, and I'll record that, possibly. And then day 5 is begin a daily draw. What message does this deck want me to have today, and record. So I think what I'll do, because the days 5, 6, and 7 of this week are just a daily draw and record. So I think what I'll do a video for days 5, 6, and 7, and just one video where I go over what was the card that I drew that day, and how I can how it incorporated into my day. So I think that's what probably what the next video is going to be. I don't know if I'm going to do the meditation spread, but anyway, I will see you in the next video. Bye, everyone.